What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Heath Mullikin Project, the podcast where we're trying to help you discover your purpose, your passion, and your possibilities. And now, here's your host, Heath Mullikin.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Heath Mullikin Project, the podcast where we're helping you discover your purpose, your passion, and your possibilities. This is episode 253, I think. And today we're kind of starting on this journey talking about podcasting, where just for an extended period of time, I'm going to be interviewing some different podcasters, different folks who have been killing it on social media. And then we're going to build into our podcast course. And we're going to talk about the recipe of creating a podcast. Meaning, and you know, what are you cooking? What are you hungry for? What are the ingredients that you need? The equipment, the website, all of that, the things that you need to produce your podcast, to record your podcast, to get your podcast out there. And then, you know, what's the recipe? How do you put all of that together? And then how do you share your podcast? Because here's the thing, any good meal deserves to be shared. So this episode is where we're really talking about, you know, what are you kind of hungry for? And this podcast is going to be just telling a story, because at the heart, that's what podcasting is. It's telling a story. Sometimes it's telling a story through an interview. Sometimes it's telling a personal story. But, you know, it's about engaging people. It's about doing something thought-provoking. It's about doing something that's meaningful. And I've said for a long time, one of the great things about podcasting, especially if you're doing it in kind of a single person format, is it just is a wonderful place to help you process so many of the things that are going on in your head. There's so many different podcasting formats. I think really the podcast that kind of changed a lot of things and really kind of took podcasting to another level. And, you know, when people really started thinking about the ad revenue that a podcast would make, and that was the Serial podcast. And that first season where it was, you were waiting for the next episodes. They told the story of this young man who had been in prison for murder. And they're telling the story about, man, maybe he didn't do this thing. And so it was such a fascinating and captivating story. And up to that point, you know, podcasting had mainly been, like I said, interviews or telling stories. They were kind of single, you know, they were single episodes. And Serial kind of gave it this season feel that podcasting could be. That podcasting could do that. My watch thinks I'm talking to it. So what's the story of this particular podcast? My podcast is the Heath Mullikin Project. So it's about things that are going on in my life that are helping me grow, that I'm learning from. So here's the story. 2 weeks ago yesterday, I'm driving my daughter, and if you watched the last episode, I shared a little bit of the story, the first part, in that my alternator dies. So my car dies. And so my car pulls over the side of the road. I have to get it towed. I get it towed back to campus to my apartment. Well, I'm thinking, okay, it's the alternator. I Google Google how to change it. And after watching multiple videos of how to change this alternator, I think I have what it takes. I think I can borrow the tools. I think I can get this alternator changed. So I set aside pretty much most of the day this past Tuesday, got in there. The first 90% of this job I did in like an hour. And I'd given myself 4.5 hours. The first 90% I get done in an hour. I get stuff taken apart and I'm at the actual alternator. And there's just this bolt that I can't get to. And so my friend Richard, God bless him, he helped me borrow some tools. Richard comes out, We get the bolts out, and this alternator still won't budge. We can get it most of the way, but there's something holding it in, and we realize there's a bolt on the back that we have not taken out yet. And to get to this bolt, you've got to have an extender, which we did not have. So that's day one. The job is, 90% done, a little over 90%. So then, yesterday, Friday, I'm like, all right, I'm going to finish this job today. So we get in there. We figure out that last bolt. We get the alternator out. Comes out. And I had went and bought a new alternator. We go to put the new alternator in. It doesn't fit. There's a little piece sticking out. And normally you can hammer this piece in to make your alternator fit. And we could not hammer the piece in. And when I took it back to O'Reilly's, I said, hey, man, you can tell. And I had my old alternator. You can tell, like, these are not the same. He's like, oh, no, that should not be like that. So they give me another alternator. I look at it. It's like the old one I took off. I get back. It goes on. It goes on. I put in bolt number 1. I put in the other bolts. I've got the alternator in. Now it's time to reattach the serpentine belt. And here's where it gets awful. Because I started working on this at 2. We worked till 9 o'clock. The whole serpentine belt comes off. Like, not just the part I got to slip around the alternator and that other pulley. It just comes off completely. And so now the only way to get to the serpentine belt all the way is I got to go through the wheel well. Well, my jack's in the back of my car. Battery's not hooked up. Nothing's hooked up. My battery's dead because of the alternator. I can't open the back door. That's where my jack is. So then I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll go borrow a jack from the farm tomorrow. Some students come by. Hey, can I borrow your jack? We get this car jacked up. We go through the wheel well. We take the thing off. We're in there. Let me just tell you, putting on a serpentine belt in a 2015 Toyota Sienna, you want to talk about comedy of errors. This is one of the most difficult technical things I have ever had to do. Getting to the alternator and taking it off, not that complicated. I mean, I watched a YouTube video. It is step by step. Take off this bolt, take off this bolt, take out your fan. Pretty simple. I mean, not simple, but like doable. We get to the serpentine belt. It's just not doable. And it was getting late and it was getting dark. And I have stuff today. So I knew I wasn't going to get to it today. And I'm just to the point where if I get somebody, like, do I have a friend mechanic who can come and do it here? Or does this car have to be lifted, which means now I've got to get the car towed somewhere. Now, the good thing is if they do tow it, I got to pay the tow charge, obviously, which stinks. But if they get this thing lifted, everything's already taken apart. They know what they're doing. They can literally put the serpentine. I got the serpentine, but they can literally put this thing on probably in 20 minutes. And then putting everything back together on the rest of the car, maybe an hour. Like, probably not even an hour. So I'm in my head thinking, okay, I was trying to save money before, and now I'm probably going to end up spending maybe $200 to $250. But obviously I need my car. Fortunately, I'm able to walk to work every day. So I'm processing all of this of, okay, what's the lesson that I've learned? The lesson that I've learned is nothing is as easy as the YouTube video makes it seem. Nothing. Nothing mechanical, not a computer repair, not a relationship. Nothing is as easy as a YouTube video makes it seem. It's hard. And then you get in there and I was texting somebody this morning about the situation, and the phrase that I'm using, it is a comedy of errors. The things that have gone wrong that a professional would not have had an issue with, but that me, an amateur, untrained, unskilled, unqualified, unbelievable, the things that have happened. And so just kind of working through all that. And I think your podcast has got to do a couple of things. Number one, it's got to solve somebody's problem. For the most part, I think when you think about some of the most popular podcasts in the world, I think of Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's just having conversations with people about very interesting things, and I think the way that they talk about them is kind of in very plain. They talk about complicated things in very plain language, and that's become appealing to people. And if you had told me, 10 years ago that the most popular podcast in the world would be 3-hour free flowing conversation, I've said that's so nuts. That's not going to work at all. But that's what it is. So they're not necessarily solving a problem. They're solving the problem of, like, people are curious about things. There's so many podcasts that, look to solve social problems. I think, Serial, that first season, and I want to say the young man is free now. I can't remember what the final results were, but they felt like they had found an injustice, and they were fighting against that injustice, what they thought was an unjust conviction. This podcast for me is, I'm trying to kind of solve and work on my own personal issues, and in doing that, hopefully do it in a transparent way that helps others work on their own issues. And so this episode, I'm telling a story about a car, but it's really about, should I have known my limitations? Like, was I wrong for even trying this? And I don't regret attempting this. I learned so much. Like, I could draw a picture of my motor in my sleep, and I understand now kind of how different things work. And have a whole new appreciation for auto mechanics and the skills that they have and the tools that they have and all of that. So as as you're thinking about, I think I want to start a podcast, you got to answer that what's your why? Why are you starting this? And if you're starting a podcast, it's 1000% okay to be selfish for that reason. For me, it was, the Heath Mullikin Project was very selfish. It was about telling this story of our family. It was about this personal diary. It was an outlet for me. It's still an outlet for me. So it started out very selfish, and obviously it was a selfish thing that's in my pursuit of purpose, passion, possibilities, hopefully helping other people and encouraging other people to discover their purpose, their passion, and their possibilities. So I really think, as you're thinking about your podcast and what you want it to be and what you want it to be branded as, I think it's 100% okay to be selfish. And I think you've got to, at the end of the day, you got to be able to look in the mirror, and you've got to decide, am I going to be happy with this if nobody listens to it? Because if you're doing it for yourself, and you're doing it as an act of creativity and as an act of worship, which is not a selfish thing, if you're doing it just because the Lord has kind of planted that seed in you, but it's selfishly helping you process things, then you just got to be honest with yourself about that. And if that's why you're doing it, it doesn't matter if you get 10 views or 10,000 views. It's about working. It's about the work and getting better and growing and all of those amazing things. Podcasting has changed and grown so much where it used to be primarily an audio format. And now so many podcasts are not even on podcast apps. They're just on YouTube. And YouTube has a whole podcasting category and label, and kind of a platform within a platform that you can do. So again, it has grown so much. You have to understand, number one thing with podcasts is, podcasting is you got to be consistent, and what that means is you got to understand it's hard, it's work. I mean, it's work to do all of this, and it's work to edit this, and it's work to promote it. It is a work. But if it's something you really enjoy, and if it's something that's feeding your soul, then it's not going to feel like work. I think one of the things I'm grateful for this podcast is I've given myself flexibility to really kind of do whatever I want to do. Like, I know the next couple of episodes, I'm interviewing a young man who's got, very good on social media and is a great student here. And then I'm working on the new season of, I don't even know what it's called, The Boardroom or whatever, with all the different characters. And that's actually going to be part of the Heath Mullikin Project, because the Heath Mullikin Project is not just, it's everything that I'm trying to do. It's everything that I'm trying to do to entertain the world, to help people laugh, and in the process of all that, help you discover your purpose, passion, and possibilities. The biggest way you can help me is if you are consuming this content on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. Helps the algorithm. Share it with other people. Helps the algorithm. If you're watching this on Facebook, give us, like it. Don't just like it, love it. Also, leave a comment. Also, share it. And the more you interact with the content, the more you're going to see the content. But I'm super excited, and we're getting ready for summer. And so my car is dead in the water and is sitting on the street out in front of my apartment. And the Lord is good, and the sun will come up tomorrow. And I'll figure it out. I have a great deal of confidence that the Lord is in control, and this is not the time to panic. It might be the time to do a Tom Hanks money pit laugh, but it's not the time to panic. And in situations like this, you just have to trust the Lord. And in order to learn to trust the Lord, you have to be in situations you can't handle yourself. That's just life. So God bless you. I'm so grateful that you watch this, listen to this, however you consume this content. I'm just blown away by that, and I hope it's an encouragement to you. And I hope if you're thinking about podcasting, make sure you're leaving a comment, because we're getting ready to go full steam. And I'm really, really excited. And be thinking about, what's your podcast going to be? What do you want to talk about? Who do you want to talk to? And what's the purpose? What's the purpose behind all of it? So God bless. We'll see you soon.